The Great Wall! This movie's totally gonna be Matt Damon's best movie ever, right? 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 The Great Wall is a movie starring Matt Damon, and this movie basically centers around how Matt Damon and this other dude he's partners with, they're both thieves, they're trying to find this thing called black powder, and they end up going to the Great Wall of China to try to find this, but they end up befriending the Chinese people, and they end up going into this little adventure that the Chinese people have been going through because there's these monsters attacking the Great Wall, and they're trying to keep these monsters away from China with the Great Wall of China, and this is not a true story at all. This is not the most accurate depiction of the Great Wall of China that you're ever going to see, because this is a fictional legend about the Great Wall. It's basically how Matt Damon starts to help these Chinese people fight off these monsters. So guys, I was not looking forward to the Great Wall at all. I just saw the trailers and I was just like, yeah, this movie's probably gonna suck. I had hope though, because obviously the star is Matt Damon. He's one of the best actors ever. He's amazing. And also I was hoping this movie would be the same amount of ridiculous that movies like The Princess Bride or Pirates of the Caribbean or Independence Day was. I was hoping this movie would be a movie that embraced how ridiculous it was, and it doesn't do that, obviously. This movie is just as terrible as I expected it to be. This movie is a big old pile of poo. Before I go into the negatives for The Great Wall, I need to mention the positive first. Some of the action scenes are pretty cool. I will say that. Some of the action scenes are actually pretty cool, and sometimes, very rarely, they actually embrace how ridiculous it is, the movie they're making. They make these action scenes that are extremely ridiculous and impossible, and it's like, yes, that's what I want from this movie. I want this movie to embrace how ridiculous it was. There were a few times where it did do that, and some of the action scenes are admittedly actually kind of cool, even though there's no suspense in the action scenes, and even though the creatures look like terrible CGI messes, at least the action scenes are alright. That's basically the only pros with this movie. Notice how I didn't even mention Matt Damon in the pros, because Matt Damon is the biggest negative with this movie, honestly. He's one of the biggest problems that this movie has. He is such a bad character. He is actually really bad in this movie, and I'm sad to say that because Matt Damon is incredible. He's incredible. He's not only amazing as Jason Bourne, but he also has so many other amazing roles that he's known for. Matt Damon is an incredible actor, and in this movie, he's terrible, honestly. He's so bad. I don't know if it was Matt Damon's fault or if it was the director's fault, because it seems like Matt Damon knows how to act well, so when I saw him changing accents in every single scene from Hispanic to American, I was just like, I was floored, because never have I seen Matt Damon played such a sucky character. Not only does his accent change in every single scene from Hispanic to American, but also he is extremely unlikable in this movie. He's just a bland thief guy, and there's nothing interesting about him at all. He's so boring. His partner is also very boring. The girl character, the girl general, she's also pretty boring. She's not interesting. Willem Dafoe is in this movie as one of the main antagonists, actually. His character was terrible. He's given no time to develop. His motivation is terrible. He's horrible in this movie, and I'm sad to say that because Willem Dafoe is such a good actor, but this character was so terrible. None of the characters in The Great Wall you care about. So when they're trying to have character moments with these characters, you don't feel suspense, you don't feel emotion, because all the characters suck. Like I said, a movie like The Great Wall, where there's monsters that they're fighting against at the Great Wall, this movie should have been like a silly Pirates of the Caribbean or Princess Bride type movie. This should have been a movie that embraced its ridiculous, but no! It's just another copy of Dances with Wolves, along with Pocahontas and James Cameron's Avatar as another copy off the same type of story, only this movie is the worst out of all of those. Even Jake Sully in James Cameron's Avatar, played by Sam Worthington, the most bland character ever, is more interesting than Matt Damon in this movie. How is that even possible? It literally goes through all the same predictable beats that those other movies go through. It's just another copy of Dances with Wolves because people are like, oh, Dances with Wolves was so good. Kevin Costner was so good in that movie. He was so good directing it. Let's copy off that exact formula and put it in this story. They try to have so much emotion in this movie, and it's so boring because every single character in this movie isn't likable. I can't think of a single character that is good in this movie. You don't care when any of the characters die, you don't care when anything bad happens to them, none of the scenes are suspenseful at all because you just don't care about any of these characters. In a movie like this, the characters should be funny, like Jeff Goldblum in Independence Day, or Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. We should have had characters like that. I know Matt Damon could definitely play a great character like that, it's just that they didn't realize what demographic they were going for with all the serious, slow moments in this movie. I mean, I would have been fine if this was just straight up silly action the whole time. I would have been like, yeah, this is a movie that's embracing how ridiculous it is. This is a movie that realizes that it's a stupid movie. But they try to take itself so seriously, and the characters are so boring, and there's so many slow moments without the action that you're just sitting there waiting for this movie to end. This movie also has CGI for basically everything. It's like, I bet Matt Damon was being directed by George Lucas secretly behind the scenes, and there was all kinds of blue screens behind him, and he was just like, wait, what am I supposed to do again? Wait, you don't want me to do the accent, or you do want me to do the accent? I'm so confused. Literally everything in this movie is CGI, basically. They're trying to cram as much CGI into one shot, and it's just not convincing. The monsters don't look good. There's nothing interesting about the monster characters. They're just kind of things that they need to fight. There's nothing interesting about these villainous characters. The climax of this movie is ridiculous and stupid, and the ending of this movie is so bad that Matt Damon's character makes a choice that was just like, what? How are you supposed to be the hero of this movie? Everything in this movie is rushed. Everything is predictable. It's another copy of Dancing with Wolves. It's literally a movie that doesn't recognize how ridiculous it is. This movie, I hate this movie. A lot of people seem to think this movie is just mediocre. And I'm sad to say that this movie is pretty awful because this is the most expensive movie ever made in China. This movie is actually the most expensive movie that apparently the Chinese have ever made. And it's this bad. I honestly couldn't stand The Great Wall. I'm gonna give it a D. Matt Damon, you can do better than this. Come on, man, you just had Jason Bourne, and the year before that, you had The Martian. What are you doing, man? Alright guys, if you like my review of The Great Wall, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!